Well, I mean, there's the second musical that ISB has done in a while. I think it was 3 years before ISB did a musical beforehand, which was, I think, Little Shop of Horrors, which was presented when I was in 8th grade. And for two, this is the biggest play that ISB has ever done, for sure. We have the biggest set we've ever done, the most complex set, for sure. We have the most complicated music I've ever heard. It's really tough to learn, but we're all working really hard to get it, down. We have a huge cast, the biggest cast we ever had. And honestly, just the fact that Mr. Herzig is incorporating dance this time as well as skateboarding and all that just makes it so much more difficult, but so much more entertaining and so much more intriguing to the audiences all over Panama. So it's way different, and its production value is incredibly large, for sure. It's very modern, surprisingly. Like, it was written in the 50s by Sondheim or Bernstein. Those two worked together in it. And the music itself is very classical. It's very classical music. You can tell it's, composed, and it's meant for a concert hall to be, right next to it as the play is being presented. But the characters and the story it presents and the love struggle and, the racist messages that are approached in the play and how the characters interact with one another, how the two gangs kind of conflict and clash, but also we see foil between them, we see them grow because of each other. It's definitely something that can be applied to modern audiences a lot. And also a lot of the comedy that you'll see in the play is very modern and is very, not something you'd imagine being said in the 50s by gentlemen and our grandparents and all that, but it's really funny to see it. Well, hopefully it'll have an impact on what, it's a very difficult question, what impact West Side Story will have on the audience. I guess, unlike Beauty and the Beast, this will be a much more sad play. It has a very tragic ending. It's based on Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare, and we all know how that ended. It's very funny, it's very lighthearted at times, and I think the biggest impact that it'll have on the audience isn't necessarily about the message that the play portrays, which is the idea of young love, and it hits again with themes of racism and of the struggle that Puerto Ricans had within New York and gang wars and all that, but it also hit the audience in realizing how the ISB as a school can make just such a huge production as this, and we've increased our production value and just improved in our making of plays, making of musicals, to be exact, in such an extreme manner so quickly. And I think this is the play that'll let them know that it'll put us on the map. It'll make us a big name in the theater world. Bernardo is not a nice guy. He's a very protective guy, for sure. He protects his family, he protects his little sister Maria. He's very protective of his gang. And that's usually where you see the nicest part of him. But even then, he's very manly, he's very bossy, and he just wants everything to run a certain way to make sure that everybody around him is safe, particularly Maria, because it's his little sister, as well as Anita, who's my girlfriend, or the character's girlfriend. He's not hot-headed, but he can be hot-headed. If he has to, he can get very violent, and he's very angry all the time, very serious, takes himself very seriously. And he thinks that the whole world is against him. And you'll see that happening with the cops and with the gang and a lot of the characters in the play itself, even sometimes characters that he has close to him. And the impact that Bernardo will have on the audience is that he's one of those characters that kind of is the reactant to what leads to the finale of the thing. And he's one of those characters that when he does that, everything starts falling apart for the two main characters. So that's very big. And the impact he has on me is, it makes me very conscious of, just of racist themes and racist ideas that were present at the time. And it makes me have to be very aware of characters that have felt that, people that feel that in the audience or in the world today, and how I can portray that in a specific way without, being seen as an antagonist. Because my character is kind of the antagonist, but I can't portray him like that because, again, even though I may be seen as the antagonist, the main character is part of a gang of racist people. So, we have to balance that in a way that the audience sees each character's perspective. So.
That's it.